Hey, Rick Crosslin here, and today I thought we would do a little bit of investigation on pumpkins because it is the season for pumpkins. And I have here what's called a carving pumpkin. Most of the pumpkins you see are actually grown starting in June, and they have to be harvested by October because we love Halloween and pumpkins. This pumpkin, the word pumpkin really has no scientific value in the plant kingdom. It's actually a melon, part of the cucumber or the cucumber family, like these gourds here. And they come in all different shapes and different colors, like a gray-blue pumpkin, or this strange gourd right here, which is so cool to look at. And these are some interesting ones that I thought I'd share with you, with warts and different colors and stripes. But you're probably most familiar with this pumpkin. And before you carve into your pumpkin, there's a lot of cool things we could do. For example, we need to learn the parts of a pumpkin. You see here, this is the vine where it was attached to it. This is the skin, and these are called ribs of how this thing grows in its structure. On the inside, we'll probably be able to see flesh and fiber and seeds. But the next time you find a pumpkin, I want you to turn it over and look at the bottom, because right there, if I show you this close, that's where the flower used to be attached. Because a pumpkin, this is actually the fruit. And in order to get this pumpkin, we might do just a real quick life cycle of a pumpkin. And it all starts with the seeds. So if you have a seed and you plant it in June, it will grow and sprout. Up will come the leaves, down will go the roots. And if you continue to give it its nutrients and its water and its sunshine, you'll get a nice plant. And as that plant grows, it will send out vines. And as those vines go a certain time in the life cycle, you will see a flower. Now, if you know anything about me and plants and flowers, a flower is the best part of a plant because that's the part that reproduces or creates seeds. Before you can get seeds, though, you have to have pollination and fertilization. So pollen from the stamen has to get to the pistil, and that's usually done by bees or other insects. So without bees, we wouldn't have pumpkins or any other fruits. Well, maybe the wind would help, and sometimes at night bats do that. You can even take your finger and pollinate a plant, and they will thank you by, in their mind, going, ah, thanks, I needed that. So once the flower is fertilized, it will start growing seeds, and the bottom of that flower will start to swell. And what you're seeing here is the bottom of that flower that swells, and inside of here are the seeds for the next generation. And there's probably going to be up to 500 seeds. One pumpkin, 500 seeds. Now, I also love pumpkin pie, but this is not the kind of pumpkin that is used for pumpkin pies. That's a different type. These are grown for fun and for carving, and they're grown all over the world. We call this a New World plant because it was here in America. And it also, though, today is grown in India and China, in Mexico, in a country called the Ukraine, and especially in the USA. And we have pumpkin growing contests. If you look it up, oh, they have giant pumpkins so big that they need a truck to lift them that are over 3,000 pounds. You might want to, I watched a video called An Elephant Crushing a Giant Pumpkin, which is pretty cool. So this can be eaten by a lot of different animals. And let's take a look inside and see what's going on here. So hopefully you'll have your mom and dad helping you. And I'm going to turn this, I'm going to cut the top off of this one. And I cut around the top of the pumpkin, and I cut it so it's kind of in, so now it won't fall through. Check that out. Look at all that fiber and all of those seeds and flesh. In fact, let me got a little paper plate here, and you can take these seeds and you could replant them or even put them and roast them and eat them. Here is some of the flesh or the pulp. So we have a vine, skin, ribs, fiber, pulp, and seeds. And I haven't even reached into this guy right here. I saw something online where I usually just use my hands, but Someone used a mixer to get all the pulp out. I like to go ahead and just cut around it like this. I also saw online where someone made a bird feeder out of these. And this is the part, since it is Halloween, it's kind of fun to reach in there and get you a nice handful of fiber, pulp, and seeds. Lots of seeds. Check it out. All right, so I've been working on this pumpkin here, and I carved out a simple jack-o'-lantern. So I did a little research where jack-o'-lanterns came from. In Scotland and Ireland, there's a character called Stingy Jack. And people would make jack-o'-lanterns and carve to keep Stingy Jack away. Now, whether you carve yours just a simple smile like I did right here, or if you make it scary, that's kind of the fun, and that's kind of up to you. So I thought we might do a couple of experiments with Stingy Jack right here, the jack-o'-lantern, that might help you have some fun. So I brought my balance scale, and that is used to measure a property of matter, how much mass something has. So the big question is, that I hear a lot is, will a pumpkin float? And when you talk about pumpkins floating, you're talking about whether they will float in water, and that is called density. Density is how much volume and how much mass something has. Since our pumpkin was hollow inside, I'm pretty sure that it would float. But to be more scientific, what we could do is we could find the mass of a pumpkin by putting it on a balance scale. So a lot of people ask me about, will a pumpkin float? I'm pretty sure a pumpkin that's hollow, that has a lot of air in it, for its size, would probably float. But to do it more scientifically, I'm using this balance scale. And a balance scale measures how much mass something has. Because if it floats or not in water has to do with density. Water has a density of 1, meaning 1 kilogram of water would be 1 liter. So we measure things in density according to how much space they take up and how much mass they are. And so this is about 510 grams, and I would have to get the same amount of water, 510 milliliters, to see, and here we have 500 milliliters. And so this is 500 milliliters, and I would say that this thing right here would actually float. It would float because it's less than this amount of water. It would float in water. But hey, don't take my word for it. You guys try it, see if it works. Another fun experiment you might try to do is the flesh, will the flesh float? Will the fibers float? Will the seeds float? Because all that has to go together to see whether or not a pumpkin will float in water. If you have a small pumpkin, you can just fill up the sink and try that too. All right, we got one more experiment we're going to try. This fill it with baking soda. And I don't know, I'll put the whole box in there. And then I got some food coloring, and I'm thinking maybe some different cool colors in here, some reds, some greens, because pumpkins come in all different colors. I don't get this all over my fingers, which I usually do. Here's some greens. Here's some reds. And guess what I'm going to add to this? You guessed it. A good chemical reaction has to do with baking soda and vinegar. So let's see what happens here. Ready? I better be ready with this because this might be kind of fun. I hope you learned a little bit, or at least got excited to learn more about pumpkins and Halloween. Let's see if we can get a chemical reaction, which means a color change, a gas, or a temperature change. Here we go. Pretty cool. have some fun, have some safe fun on Halloween. I'll see you next time. Okay. Ever wonder what it's like when a pumpkin throws up? Nice job, dude.